Howdy everyone, Greg Martin, the Entrepreneur's Banker here, and today is October 15th. For some people, it's the best day all year, specifically you accountants who are done with all the tax filing. For others, it's probably a pretty crappy day. For the entrepreneurs that had to write a check to Uncle Sam today and file their taxes, it probably really wasn't a really good day. But let me ask you this, how did you like paying Uncle Sam? You know, that business partner that every entrepreneur has that is part of your business, and he wants his taste every single year in a tax distribution. Well, let me ask you this. How did it feel to pay Uncle Sam? For a lot of you, you probably didn't like it. But like I was told when I was in the Army, when I was going through Ranger School, you don't have to like it. You just have to do it. Now, I understand that, our government does need tax dollars, and we need to have tax money in order to have a society. But Uncle Sam and the IRS give you an opportunity to actually plan for how much you're actually going to pay him. And so let me encourage you to think about 4 things over the next 75 days that you can start putting into practice now that will impact how much you have to pay Uncle Sam next year when it comes time to have your tax meeting. The first thing is how did you pay your taxes? No, seriously, how did you pay your taxes? Did you pay it throughout the year in estimates, or did you wait for the end of the year and just have one lump sum payment? How did you pay your taxes? Understanding that, understanding your cash flows, and understanding how your profit is generated is very key to saying how you can pay your taxes. If you're a profit first follower, then you have a tax account that's set up specifically for today, specifically for the time that you have to pay Uncle Sam. So let me ask you, how do you pay your taxes? Secondly, I want to ask you, who paid your taxes? Now, it's your business that generates revenue. It's the profit that you make throughout that creates that tax liability. That was generated by your business. So it should be your business that pays the taxes. Was it your business that paid the taxes this year? Was it your business and did your business pay it with cash that was on hand? Did you have that cash set aside like it was in a profit first account or a tax account? Or did you take cash out of your operating cycle? Did you take cash out of your ability to actually generate more revenue and generate more profit? And so now your business is going to be hurting because you didn't have that cash saved up. Did you have to go to yourself and borrow that money? Again, it's the business that generates that revenue, that profit that creates the tax liability. So it should be the business to pay it. But a lot of entrepreneurs I know say, Greg, if I take that money out of my business, I'm not going to be able to operate. So I'm going to go to my personal savings and I'm going to drag money out of my personal life, money that you fought hard to earn and then take out of the business. You're going to put that money back into the business because your business didn't pay for it. Or did you go and borrow it? Did the bank pay your taxes? Did you borrow on your line of credit in order to pay your taxes? When you borrow on a line of credit or a loan or something like that. So basically what you've done is that you have encumbered the profits of the next year, or heaven forbid the next 2 or 3 years, in order to pay your tax liability this year. That's wrong. But what about also maybe did you leverage your accounts receivable? So again, you said, look, I've got a lot of money coming in. The customers are so I'm going to get a check from a customer. I'm going to use that to pay my taxes. Again, what you're doing is you're leveraging your future cash flow for today's benefit. I challenge you to not do that. So the third thing I want to talk about is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do today? What are you going to do over the next 75 days to plan for your meeting next year with Uncle Sam? Well, the first thing I think you should do is you should get an appointment with your tax preparer, with your accountant. Probably not today, maybe not next week. They might be taking a little bit of time off after a marathon year, but do it soon. Do not let a couple weeks go by and then we're going to roll into the holidays and then it's going to be too late. Start talking to your CPA, your tax advisor, to be able to start planning for next year's taxes. Have a tax plan. And part of that plan should be setting aside money dollars in order to pay for your tax bill for next year. But one word of caution, I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs do this, and I can't tell you how many times throughout the last 13 years, I've had entrepreneurs call me up after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, and be like, okay, Greg, I need to borrow some money right now because I need to get a piece of equipment because my accountant says that I can use that as a tax write-off, and so I don't want to pay taxes this year. And that, I'm not saying that that's not a bad strategy. But what I'm saying is, do not, just like you don't want to leverage the future cash flows of your business in order to pay today's taxes, you don't want to leverage the future cash flows of your business in order to avoid paying taxes. You don't want to get a loan that you're going to pay on for 3, 4, 5 years in order to not pay today. And again, remember, it's just a portion. And I understand no one likes to pay taxes. I get that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't use the tax laws. What I'm saying is that you need to be strategic about what is part of your tax plan. But talk to your tax advisor, talk to your banker, and just realize how can you do it most effectively. And if you haven't done it today, I would ask you to go open up a tax account. That is one of the things that I love the most about the Profit First methodology, is that account sets aside money specifically for today. It's that account that you set aside money, and to be able to say, hey, I know that I'm going to have to pay Uncle Sam, so I'm going to take that money off the top. I'm going to take 15 cents out of every dollar that I make, and I'm going to put it in that account. And guess what? If you have a great tax accountant, or you have a good year or something like that, and maybe, let's say you've got $50,000 in that account, and your tax liability is $45,000. Well, guess who just got a bonus? You, the entrepreneur, did. Now, let's think about it on the flip side. Maybe you've got $50,000 in that account, and you've had a really good year, and your tax liability is $55,000. Well, it's a hell of a lot easier to come up with $5,000 than it is to come up with $55,000. So plan ahead and put yourself in that position to succeed and to be able to enjoy tax day next year. The last thing I want to talk about is the PPP. We have talked a lot this week, and actually this past Saturday, the SBA came out with a rule for PPP loans over $50,000 and below, and they were going to have a really, really rapid forgiveness. And that's a really great thing, and hopefully that amount will be increased in order to help a lot of entrepreneurs out there. But the fact of the matter is that right now, as the law is written, that PPP has a tax liability. So if you got a $100,000 PPP and you're in the 20% tax bracket, you are going to have a $20,000 tax bill associated with that PPP. Now, I won't get into the actual accounting of it. Technically, it's not counted as revenue, but at the end of the day, you can't count that as an expense. So if you use the PPP money as it was intended, you cannot use that as an expense, so your tax liability goes up. So you definitely better be talking to your accountant today in order to plan and anticipate for that PPP liability. Being an entrepreneur today is one of the most difficult things that you can do. This year has taught us that you have to be creative, you have to be strong, you have to be courageous, you have to be full of grit. And I'm just so humbled and honored to work with some amazing entrepreneurs. But entrepreneurship today is a team sport. So surround yourself with the Fab Five. Those 5 people who are worthy of speaking into you and speaking into your business in order to push you towards success. I come alongside entrepreneurs and I help with their financial flexibility. COVID has shown us that you need to be operationally flexible, but have you seriously looked at how your finances are all aligned to make yourself financially flexible? I hope that you check out some of the other content that I've produced and you find it insightful. And if you have any questions, I'd love to connect with you. I'd love to drop a line. Until next time, this is Greg Martin, the Entrepreneur's Banker. Take care and be safe.